All righty. Good evening, everyone. This is Ron. Monday, November 3rd, a little after 6 p.m. Let's get started and see where we are. Yesterday, we talked about our commitments. We talked about a number of things. We talked about the asking and or what it means to ask and tying, looking at who we are and what's going on and what is to come in the next days or months or and how do we feel about that? How does it feel to be Elohim, or any questions, any expressions? How do you feel when we're not on the phone? Do you still feel like you're empowered or so where are we today? Any questions or comments? Anybody have any thoughts about what we talked about yesterday or questions?
Hello, Ron. This is Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
I hope everyone's doing well tonight. I have been thinking about what we've been talking about, and I think everyone did an excellent job yesterday on laying out what it means to be Elohim and understanding about loving kindness, forgiveness, looking at the pain of the Caucasian and the mindset and looking at their pain and not being so caught up in holding on to our own pain, releasing all of that, and
Mhm.
understanding that that is what it means to be Elohim. And I agree with everything that was taught, but I started thinking about my own personal journey. And I'm not calling this a struggle right now. What I'm calling this is opportunities that I have been missing because I have not fully understood what it meant to embrace the idea of the fact that I am Elohim. And so, where I started in this journey and looking at this for myself, I looked at what Elohim means, and it means one yet many. And what I realized I was doing, and I can only speak to what I've done, is as we are together 3 times on the phone and we're learning, and I feel like I'm a part of the many, I don't question anything. I feel very confident in knowing that I am Elohim when we are, quote unquote, the many joining together to understand what all of this means and the identity of self and self awareness now and knowing who we are. I think what I have been missing were those opportunities when I feel like I am the one. And what I mean like that is when I'm by myself, when I am not on the phone, I'm not being taught, I'm holding on to what I have been taught, but what I find myself coming to grips with and coming to terms with is how is this one individual holding on to being Elohim. And what I mean by that is as life comes your way and as things are happening to you in this journey, how do we hold on to the idea that I am one yet many? The connection is never severed. I'm not saying we're not always connected, but I'm saying that as circumstances arise, and what I've found and what I'm learning now based on the teachings is I had been passing up many, many opportunities to have reinforcement. And I'm going to use that term loosely because I don't know what else to use. There have been things that have been happening in my life that were opportunities for me to reinforce who I am, but I didn't always know that's what was happening, and I didn't always take advantage of those opportunities. So what I'm beginning to understand now as through the teaching, and I'll give you examples of what I mean in just a moment, is that throughout my life, now that we acknowledge ancestors and we understand the importance of ancestors and the importance of the cosmic mother being on the throne, there are things that are happening in our lives that we have opportunities to reaffirm with us who we are. Point in case, I am now learning, as opposed to just hoping that something happens, I am now learning to say, I'm not comfortable with what I'm getting ready to face, but I want it to happen this way. And it happens. And if there was a struggle at all involved in that, the struggle came in the fact that I didn't know when to speak with authority as opposed to think that I was trying to shape something because I know we're not supposed to shape it. But then I remember that the scripture tells us that we have the ability to call things that are not as though they are, and it will be established. And the reason things are not, and we have to establish them, is because we don't always believe that those things can be for us because we see the one and not always the one yet many. And so I'm learning that. And even I remember even with the centurion, the scriptures said that he told the centurion, just speak the word. You don't always have to go. I am
Hmm.
now learning the importance of speaking the word and understanding who I am and establishing things. And I'll give you an example. A couple of times, and it's happened to me with other things, but the most recent was traffic. I had to get on the interstate to go somewhere during a busy time of day, and where you exit onto the interstate, it was really crowded. And before I went, I said, this makes me very uncomfortable. I don't like getting on at this time. I don't want there to be any traffic at all. I get to the intersection, there is not a single car. And then going home, I said, okay, I just need to be able to get on and go. Well, there was traffic, but it was spaced out so that I got on very easily. And even just 2 days ago, Linda and I were going to the bank, and she said, "Oh, I'm coming in from the wrong end. Now I got to go across all this traffic, and that's harder to do." And I said, "There won't be any traffic." And she said, "Okay." And we got there, and not a single car. These are opportunities that reaffirm to me who I am and what I have the ability to do. But like I said, I think my thing has not been the yet many, because I understand when we're connected on this phone that I am one yet many. But in living my day-to-day life as the one, there are opportunities that are now happening in my life that reaffirm for me that I am Elohim, and I have not been taking those opportunities. I've been calling them struggles, and I've been calling them various things, and I'm learning to call them opportunities now, and I'm not settled 100%. But when I listen to us talk about where we are with all of this and look at where I am, I'm growing and I'm learning. But I think my thing is learning the one part of the still always connected, understanding I'm never disconnected. But when I am Kathy Smith sitting at home, living life, doing what I've got to do every day, day to day, I now realize that I'm being given by the ancestors many opportunities to reaffirm that I am one yet many and that I'm Elohim. And I just wanted to share that because I think sometimes our struggle isn't what we're being taught on the phone. It's in being able from day to day to see as things arise that we have the power and the authority to call things that are not as though they are and establish those things. That's kind of new to us. And we've heard that scripture forever and a day. And we know the story of the centurion,
Yeah.
but we didn't always apply it to ourselves. And I just wanted to share that. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Um, Thank you. I appreciate your honesty in sharing that. And I don't think I think you had to talk about that because maybe that's where several of us are uh, feeling a bit uncomfortable when we're by ourselves. Anybody want to address that before Pastor does? Does anybody else want to address that? Do you have any questions about it? Was it clear?
This is Vermel. I just want to say thank you for sharing that because it does help me to see and understand better.
Thank you,
You're so
Vermel.
welcome, Ramel. And your question is what made me, Ramel, think about that. When you said what you said yesterday, it helped me to think about where are you struggling because, like I said, I think for me sometimes I'm like, am I shaping it or am I to walk in authority and with confidence? I'm not really sure. What am I doing here? And so that got me to thinking based on what you said. So I appreciate you saying what you said on yesterday as well.
Kathy, you bring up something, and Sage and Ron, I guess is directed to you. How do you know? Sometimes I wonder if I'm trying to shape something or if I'm just making a request, I guess, to myself. Not necessarily for myself, but when is it shaping and when is it not shaping? Is it when I want to
And
see it a certain way?
I hope that Pastor will answer that and give us some more insight to that, because I still need answers to that as well.
Is it, where do I want to start? Shaping. When you made the statement in reference to the traffic, that is a desire that you put out there. When you made the statement about calling those things that are not as though they were, when we were first uh, interacting or hearing that statement or that scripture being quoted, it was being misinterpreted because it was talking about material things as opposed to spiritual essences or the spiritual everyday life that we live. So when you talked about the traffic, that's an individual desire. When we talk about not shaping things, we're not talking about how you interact individually as Elohim with the environment that we live in. When I anyways talk about not shaping things, I am talking about those things that have a binding effect on humanity. Not shaping what we're going to see when the manifestation, what we're going to see when this chaos is brought to order. Can you see the difference so far?
Yes.
I think so. Yes.
What I'm saying is that we have the authority to govern our lives. If we did not have the authority to govern our lives, we would not have the authority to govern humanity in terms of righteousness. In governing our lives, our essence of being Elohim does not grant